Josh, it's been a while since we've had you back on in the MiddlePod.
I know, it's probably for the best, to be honest. 'Cause you never know what I'm going to say on these things.
Bearing in mind it's taken us 5 minutes to do an intro.
Yeah, this is not our first attempt at an intro.
No, but
It's
that's
not our
okay.
second either.
No, because things don't always go to plan, and that's fine.
I think we know what we're good at, and I know that I'm not particularly great at being like centre of attention
Yes.
on camera.
Yes,
So
and hosting.
that's why I tend to not do this.
Yeah. We do always say to people on shoots where they're like, "Oh, I'm really not good in front of the camera." We're like, "Why do you think we're behind it?"
Yeah.
this is why we've chosen. I mean, less so for me, but this is why you've chosen the career you have.
I mean, to throw this all straight into a tangent immediately.
Go ahead, please.
Well, we had somebody in earlier today who is a radio presenter
oh,
to
he's
present a
so
podcast.
good.
And I've been watching some clips. We can bring a name. We can name, can't we?
We can name.
Yeah.
Ed,
His
you're
name's
great.
Ed. Yeah. Big up, Ed.
Big up, Ed.
So, yeah, when you watch someone else who does it for a living, it's incredible how they are compared to... I was commenting on him versus the person interviewed, and they were more like me in terms of I need time to think, I need time to figure out what my next word's going to be. I'll get hung up on a really simple question and answer situation, whereas a presenter will just they just drive the conversation. It's like, nope, we don't need to cover that bit, we're going to move on to this bit. And
I think it depends what mindset you're in as well, because like me doing even like just the two different types of episodes that we do, so me doing the Producers Network, I feel like I'm on it and I'm like almost like in the same mindset that I am when we do interviews and testimonials for video clients, where I'm like, I may not have a script, I may not have certain questions I want answered, but like I'm hosting and I'm like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Whereas when we do in the MiddlePod episodes just with like us or me and Jack, it's like my brain goes into, I'm just talking to my friends.
Yeah. Which is
and
nice.
like, yes, it's a
I'll take
podcast
that.
episode, but I'm just chatting with my friends. Even to the point where I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've definitely said it to you and to Jack.
Okay.
That like we've known each other for so long now. I think we just communicate in a series of grunts and noises and creaking bones and stuff like that. Whereas when I'm talking to other people on the podcast, I'm like, okay, I need to enunciate and articulate properly so people know what I'm talking about. So when it comes to doing subtitles, because we use AI to like basically generate transcript that then you edit when you do the subtitles. When I do it for the Producers Network, it's fairly accurate. There's a few things I've got to change. When I do it in the MiddlePod episodes, it's so inaccurate because I feel like I just mumble.
Yeah, I've had to be like get way more conscious of things that I say. I'm now going to mention them, and people are going to be listening and picking me out on them.
I know the ones you mean.
One is like. I think in every sentence I will say the word like.
Yeah. Or like, and then I was like, yeah, literally. But I'll say, and then I was like, and then they were like, and then she was like,
yeah.
I hate it.
At one point, I used to say it is like, and then I turned it all into one word.
It's like.
And it became slike. So
yeah,
I would just say slike all the time.
Yeah.
And then also when we do this as well, it's agreeing with the other person, because you want to be like, oh yes, I'm listening. Yes. And then in the background of the video, you've got like you talking, and then just these randoms like yes.
Isn't too bad. I've learnt this because if anything, I'm now trying to encourage myself to say more, because previously I was saying yeah. I was sat going yeah, and then the subtitles it would just have written like 5 times. And we had a work experience girl, Rosie, and a couple of weeks ago, who was amazing. She was so good, and I gave her the challenge of editing a podcast episode for a few weeks back. I think it was the one with me and James Mackenzie, and she was like, you guys say yeah all the time. I was like, I know. I was like, and it's just become like
It's so hard.
I really catch myself now.
Yeah.
But it's more natural. It's a more natural way of talking.
Yeah.
And because I saw a conversation on LinkedIn the other day. Again, this has gone on a massive tangent from what we've planned to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, but maybe it's now turning into a podcast episode about podcasts.
Well,
let's do it.
It's relevant.
That's the thing now. There was a LinkedIn post the other day where someone was, I think they were a producer or an editor specifically for podcasts. And they were saying, if you don't edit out ums and likes and your nose and things like that, then you're a lazy editor. And I was like, I disagree.
I think it depends on context.
Completely.
So if you need it to look like the sort of thing I was filming last week in London, where it's like to camera, everything's very clean and particular.
Proper video.
Yeah.
Compared to podcast.
Definitely. And it's all scripted as well. It's all like off a teleprompter. So people aren't in that environment. They're not even talking how they would talk normally anyway. So you might as well tidy it up and make it clean. And this is exactly what was written on the script. But and then the key is you pick people who are good at reading a teleprompter without it sounding like a teleprompter. That's a skill. Well, I mean, these guys, they weren't even actors. They were really good, actually. Nice. I was quite impressed. But yeah, you would take the ums and the hesitations out, and that's part of that process.
Yes.
But for a podcast, I feel like people want real. So we don't want like 1,001 cuts where it's obvious that you've cut it out to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, because that's not me.
Well, so someone that I know who also does podcasts was in the comments, and he said, oh, that's a really interesting take, but then how do you, because he does podcasts, but it's all online, so it's webcam video, so you're not, got the luxury of us where you've got 3 camera angles that we can cut between, and we can cut things out sometimes you may have never known, but we do.
We've never cut anything. This is exactly what we said and how we said it.
It's normally just me going, I've completely lost my train of thought. What have I said? Oh no. So if it ever feels like a weird cut, that's why. But we do have that luxury. But he was saying, because it's one video angle, if he cuts something out, then you've got a harsh jump cut. And what's more interrupting? Is it a harsh jump cut, or is it someone saying the word or like? And I completely agree that I would rather keep it all in.
Yeah.
Because it's more conversational. And I think like you say, it depends on what the purpose of the podcast is. I always describe what I want for this one is it sounds like you've got, like, you'll be getting on with work, you'll have the podcast on in the background, and it's like you've got 2 friends in the corner having a natter. And because that's the kind of podcast I love to listen to. It says something that my favourite podcast is literally called Ladies and Tangents. Yeah. Because they go on tangents for ages, and then they just update you on their life, and then they'll finally get to the subject they're on about. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. This is the kind of energy. But yeah, if you're maybe going for a completely corporate, really business focused podcast, maybe that probably
would be better to work off a script and have questions ready. I've just got like the table in front of me, and I'm the sort of person that'll be like, oh, well, paint job on that's not so good. A little scuff mark there. So my mind will wander a lot.
But I think that's, we literally came into this room and I had a rough idea of what I wanted us to speak about. Yeah. And already it's changed into something else.
Which is cool. Which is
nice. I quite like that as a concept, because to me, I just find people interesting. And so to me, it's like whatever is coming off the top of people's heads that they're talking about, that's what I'm interested to listen to.
Yeah. The way I see podcasts are, when you go to a networking event and you don't know the people around you, and then you go and stand next to them and you're trying to figure out what they're talking about, and you're trying to listen for like in points and things like that. That's how it feels when you're, it's different when you know the person, because but then it's the same in essence as going and finding the same person at a networking event, and they're just talking about things, and you're like, wow, I didn't realize that. And then you ask them a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same thing, but there's just 3 cameras and 2 mics.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's, there's not like cake or anything. Not this time.
I wish next time.
Not that every networking event has cake, but I think they should.
A lot of them do, and a lot of them should.
Yeah.
I think, it completely depends what kind of podcast you're making, and I think that's why we're finding the whole podcast scene, because we're also still quite fresh to it. I mean, what was the first booking for this in?
It was only the end of last year.
September, October, I think.
I think it was close to the end of the year.
It might have been even closer to the end of the year. So we're still quite new on the podcast scene, but we're already getting wildly different podcast setups come in.
Yeah.
So we've got some that are very structured, very corporate, and we've got some that are literally just one person on their own going, I just want this to be as conversational as possible, and I'm just going to chat, and then we'll figure out how that's going to work into something.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice to see the difference.
Yeah. It is. It's really crazy how, I mean, even the way different people will use the space in terms of some people come in with a structure.
Yeah.
It's fine. They barely even interact with us because they're just on a mission. They want to get their podcast recorded, sorted. They sit down with the paper and you're like, you happy? And they're like, yes, we will let you know if there's anything we need. You're like, fantastic, goodbye.
Yeah. And I expect that the more, because I don't think we have anyone who's used a space and hasn't booked it again as a regular space yet.
Yeah. I mean, everyone who's been says that they'll be back.
Yeah. So I think
in whatever.
The more that they come back, the more people are moving into that kind of I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to go in and sort myself out. And it's great. Yeah. Amazing. That's what we built the space is to be as self-sufficient as possible. So it's really nice to see that people do feel comfortable to just come in and just get on with it.
Yeah.
If they want to sit and have a chat, that's great. It's so Jamie booking in, he'll book in and he won't book anything in the lunch break slot because he wants to grab us to go to lunch, which is also good. Really, really lovely.
Yeah.
So it just feels like having your friends turn up at your house, say hi, and then just go off into another room, and then they'll come back later and be like, bye. And you're like, okay, bye.
That's almost what we talked about with sort of the other side to the business anyway. Is the sort of people we want to work with are those people who it feels like your friends coming in, and then we can just have a chat with everyone, and sometimes it's just the only thing that stops you is I've spent half of my day chatting to people. I should now probably sort out my emails.
But it is so for anyone who doesn't know, so we built the podcast studio within our existing office and photography studio space, because I don't know if we've talked about in the podcast how the studio came about. Basically, I wanted a meeting room.
Yes, yeah.
I was really fed up that, because our actual office space is really small. You've got 3 of us sat in there and a cat.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 or however many decide they want to come into the office that day. We are surrounded by them.
We have a cat creche, apparently.
It does feel like a cat creche. I'll bring, when I get my dog, I'll bring that in as well. It'll just be a menagerie. So we have our small office room, and that meant that whenever and a massive photography studio space, which used to be your dad's.
Yeah.
Which is a gorgeous white scooped studio, and it's great, but and we hired it out, but it wasn't getting used that often.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Drew Dees, photographer, about this, and he was saying as well that photography, especially product photography, goes through stages of being real and then CGI and then back to real and then back to CGI, and so it wasn't getting as much use as we wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you came up with the bright idea of let's build a temporary room.
Well, the reason for the temporary room was more because we had one client who we'd probably do a shoot with them maybe once a year, but quite often they would want to get a car in the studio.
Yes.
Which is absolutely fine, and that fits. But basically I didn't want to commit to losing a whole corner of the studio just in case. So the idea was, right, we've got this temporary space that we can remove if we get that sort of shoot in. And then we've got the whole studio again, and then you can put it back out again.
Which technically we still can.
Yeah.
I reckon it would only take us an hour and a half to get this all packed away.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to do it, ever.
No, I still reckon we could get a car in. We just have to be a bit clever with the angles.
I think so. I think you'd get a small car, which interestingly enough is what they tended to use. So yeah, we can get a Mini in. And has there been any requests to remove the room since we built it? No. Once.
Only when it was still a shell.
Ah, yes.
We had to take it down once because we had a band coming in to film a music video. But since we've had other bands come in to film music videos, and the restricted space that we now have has still been more than sufficient.
Yeah.
So there's temporary space that we built as a meeting room, because when we had people come over for meetings or like one-to-ones and things like that, we just didn't have any space, and it would get really distracting with people like stood in the corner of the office while two other people are trying to work.
Yeah.
So we started building a meeting room, and then halfway through construction, I remember being sat at a coaching session, and Matt Crump was there as well, sat next to me. And he turned around to you and said, like, "Oh, yeah, so you're building the podcast studio. How's that going?" And I was like, sorry. What's happened to my meeting room?
Yeah. So, because, just, I guess, very prior to that, Matt rang me up with no context at all. And Matt rings me up a lot. He does. We probably talk every other day, maybe every day. And usually... I mean, the phone call I had with Matt yesterday was, he rang me up on FaceTime as well, so I can see what he's doing. He screamed at me down the phone because he's running and it's windy, and he's like, "Yeah, you won't be able to hear me, but I'm just out on it all just went all fuzzy," and I was like,
"Why?
You've just called me to tell me that I won't be able to hear you." It's like the best conversation ever.
Bless him.
But anyway, he rang me up in pure excitement and said, "I've had the best idea in the world." I'm like, "Okay, go on then." He's like, "We're going to do a podcast." Yeah. He was like, "Me and you are going to do a podcast." I'm like, for me, I was thinking,
were so against the idea.
That sounds like my worst nightmare. I never want to do a podcast ever.
Yeah.
But I talked to him about it, and I thought, you know what? Okay, fine. And then you had your conversation.
I think I'd been away or something, or I hadn't been around for like, it might have been the week of my wedding, and just after that I'd been away for a bit. And then I came back, and the first thing I heard is Matt saying that my beautiful meeting room that I'd built in my head and demanded a foliage wall and some nice lighting was now going to become a podcast studio. And
but technically you have the nice lighting and the foliage wall.
Yes, but at that time I was like, what the hell have you convinced Josh to do? But he was like, and I think he got a bit annoyed with my questioning, because I was like, "Okay, where are you putting this podcast?" And he was like, "Oh, we're just going to put it on YouTube Spot." I was like, "Who's going to watch it?" I was like, "What's the podcast about? What's your marketing plan? What's this? What's that?" And fully grilled him, and he got really annoyed at me. And I think we spoke like a week or so later, and I was like, "Okay, I've come round to the idea. But if you want to do it, this is your own thing you're doing. But I'm up for you guys turning it into a podcast studio." Or I don't think I really had a choice in the matter. I think it was going to happen regardless.
The important thing is it would double up as a meeting room, which it can and does.
Yeah,
although,
so...
I can't remember the last time we've had a meeting in here.
I literally had a meeting here like 2 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So you're fine.
All right. I don't know what I did.
So, it worked out well, which was nice. But we sort of built it almost as like a passion project for you and Matt to be able to have a space to do your own podcast.
Yeah.
But you built it really nicely.
It's actually turned out all right.
It's actually turned out okay. And so we built it, and we were like, we don't really know. Like, we know about audio, we know about video. So we know all the things that come with making a podcast. And then you and Matt worked together on the tech side of things. So those who don't know, Matt Crump, he owns Cloud Top Technology, which is an amazing IT MSP. They do all our IT and have to deal with us crying about storage and everything that comes with
calendars,
terabytes of data. So Matt helped you with like the best ways to set up the recording and everything like that. And we ended up coming up with something that's really self-sufficient. Because like I was saying earlier, we want people to be able to come in, sit down, literally press record on this thing here, set their timer, and then they're good to go.
Well, you know my thoughts on technology. This is a little insight into my head. Technology has the ability to put satellites into orbit. It can apparently do well. I can't even think of 1,000.
But we can't make printers that don't break.
Well,
that's my one thing that I have such a gripe with is I've never known a printer that doesn't break.
Yeah, there's lots of things which I feel like technology has come so far, and yet some things have got left behind. So phones. When was the last time you had an uninterrupted phone call using not WhatsApp, but like your like phone network?
I don't know. Sometimes
I find that
it'll be like, oh, signals drop.
Yeah, or like halfway through you can't hear people, and everyone's like, oh, you sound a bit robotic.
I mean, you haven't updated your phone in how many years?
But it's not my phone. Everyone's saying it.
Yeah.
So, and how long have phones been around? And I remember when I got my first phone, I probably had just as good quality phone calls then, if not better, than I do now.
Yeah.
So some things have gotten left behind, and I don't think there's any excuse for it.
Yeah.
It's just laziness.
Yeah. So when it comes to you and tech, you're like, I'm going to make this work, and I'm going to make it easy.
So, for example, I have this ongoing problem at the moment where I cannot connect a calendar to another calendar, and I'm like, how is this not possible? How have we reached 2026 and I can't tell that calendar to look at that calendar and be like, oh yeah, that's busy. I won't put anything in there. Can't be done. Everyone's been like, it can't be done. I'm like, don't say it can't be done. It
you have a real
can be done.
issue with the word can't.
Yeah.
And like the only times we've ever fallen out is because I've told you we can't do something and you're like, you said can't. You should have said shouldn't.
Yeah. It's less cost effective. There are other ways to phrase it, but it absolutely can be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, this sort of became a simplified setup because it doesn't need to be complicated.
No.
Because the technology exists to make it simple.
And the thing is, like, we have like been to other studios and we've seen other podcast setups, and don't get me wrong, like the quality of what they're producing is really, really nice, and like the audio is really good, but we were struggling to find any video wise that one were big enough, because everyone thinks for a podcast to get the audio correct you need like so much soundproofing and you need to be surrounded by curtains and there's rugs everywhere and you need to be sat in a cupboard. It's not true. Like, we have absolutely, fine audio quality.
My
loads of space.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna I could keep jumping in
you
here, ruining your podcast.
It's fine.
So I mean, I remember looking at other podcasts like Joe Rogan, classic one. But if you look in the background of Joe Rogan's podcasts, it's a soundproofing curtain.
Yeah.
And if you look in the background of other podcasts, it's like soundproofing curtain. But you don't need it.
No.
You don't. Audio people are going to be screaming
Yeah.
right now, being like, "You absolutely do need it."
Yeah.
But are you like, when the quality of the audio comes out on this, I would argue it's not needed. Like,
No.
absolutely not needed. The treatment that we do on it in the end does not need anything more.
No.
So, and there is soundproofing around us. Like, there's some stuff which
absolutely. There's
you
stuff
can't
on the
really
walls
see.
that you can't see out the corner.
Yeah.
And like, we carpeted it, but even before we carpeted it, like,
It still would work.
it was still fine.
Yeah.
I think the technology in terms of microphones and things like that has come so far now that there is so much you can do in audio processing, but also like in microphone that just makes it so much nicer.
Yeah.
Like, I know you were saying you're so specific, so these mics that we use have different settings for where it's accepting the sound.
Yeah.
So we knew that ideally we were setting up the space so it can be used for 3 or 4 people. So if someone's turned their head to do this, traditional microphones, like it would completely change the audio quality.
Yeah, or the volume will dip as you look left and right.
Whereas ours, like there's a slight change, but you can still hear perfectly fine if someone's looking one way or the other.
Yeah. Because you can have conversations, and I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be like trying to side eye the person next to me while have like, then people just don't do that. You're going to look at them.
Just like, hello.
Yeah. So everyone looks real shifty in this podcast because no one's moving their head.
No one's allowed to turn their head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like we'd identified a lot. I say you'd identified a lot of the problems with other places that like, you know, normally it's sort of problems that you work around, or like you have to have better technique with it. Whereas like, we want this to be as accessible as possible for the most technophobe of a person to be able to step foot. And like the reason I started the Producers Network was specifically for people who are nervous about being on camera, for me to get them in and be like, it's not scary.
Yeah.
And so it cannot be the sort of setup that is big and intimidating and like with loads of dials and everything.
Yeah.
Like all you can see here is there's a TV there which has, you know, the screen on that we can see the levels and everything, and a tiny little Stream Deck that has all of 5 buttons that I can press. And one of them's a timer just so I know where I am and what I'm doing. But like, it needed to be something simple.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've made, is something that's accessible, it's simple, it's customizable, because that was a big thing as well. Like branding wise, we didn't want people to come in here and be like, because we debated at one point when it was still a meeting room having like a neon light.
Yeah.
With like the Middlebrook Productions logo on it. But we were like, well, if we're now renting it out as a studio space, like we can't have our stuff slapped everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You want people to be able to make it their own. And even to the point now where, I mean, over the weekend, due to more, I guess, as someone who I knew would want a more corporate looking background was coming in, and I thought, it's not. I mean, the first thing Matt said when he came in, after having put in all of this effort to build this podcast space, the first thing he said was, "Are we going to cover that back wall? Because it's
just wood, isn't it?
Did you call it MDF? Disgusting."
Yeah. Gross. Yeah, he wasn't a fan of it. Whereas, like, so our office is entirely made out of wood and pallets.
Yeah. So this works.
It works for us because this is kind of goes with our branding, is it's that slightly rustic, we're set on a farm kind of look, whereas for other people might not necessarily be the right look.
So we since obviously like we've built another backdrop option and keep sort of adding in sections, so ultimately it will be recognizable as the same space as another podcast, but the more we can make it sort of customizable.
Absolutely. And like, so the lights we can change the color of. The logo is just a projection, so whoever comes in, we can just load up whatever logo they want and project that. But just changing that and the color changes the space so much more than I ever thought it would. And we've had people say like, oh, can I bring in like props to set up the table and move the plants? We're like, yeah. Go ahead, like you're renting a space, you can do whatever you want to it to an extent. Don't do anything permanent, but like it needed to be malleable. I think is the right word.
Because I mean, all like most podcast spaces are pretty, I guess, what's the word? They're not sort of unique to themselves. They are just as they look, and you change a few items in the background. Some are done out in like Infinity Coves, so that might be something down the line which is in my mind, but I have a lot of other projects which I'm going to attempt first.
We'll get round to it.
And a different sort of format and layout, but I'm not sure where I was going with this.
No, well, that's the thing, is like we've said, like the next step, because I mean already we officially launched the podcast studio in what month are we now? March. I think we've officially launched it early Feb. Like with the video and everything being like, we're here. And the website still isn't going to be up until the end of March.
Once I've figured out how to connect 2 calendars.
We'll get there. But the nice thing is already we have people booked in with recurring podcasts that they're coming to record like weekly or like monthly, or one of them who lives out the country who just comes and sits and records 6 months of content and then goes away again and then comes back again. So we're already looking at, okay, if this space gets booked up, what's the next option?
Yeah,
we've got another 3/4 of photography studio space.
I'm quite excited to. I almost want to just start doing something
not yet
else, but I'm like, no,
I'm reining you
in. Calm down. We need to get other things in order first. But
yeah,
I'm making mental notes of other possibilities.
Yeah, because we were saying like different setups wise, like this works as my meeting room and as a podcast studio because you've got the table, you've got space for 4 people. We were like, what about like armchairs?
Yeah.
Or a sofa?
Yeah.
So it's a more casual look if people want to have a more like chatty like podcast. It just opens up a whole new realm of clients that we can have.
Yeah.
Or even for existing clients to go, we want to shake it up for like a different series within our podcast. They could go use the other room. And it's nice that we've got that space, but also like the ability to just make it.
Yeah. I love, because that's always been the thing with the studio, is it's sort of lost its purpose a bit in terms of less sort of product shoots happening. It just sort of became this sort of big sort of open garage space that's
really cold.
Yeah, like in the winter it's really cold, so it's all right. It's nice in the summer, but most of the time it's just a big dark void because obviously you don't want any windows in the studio, so you can control the light. So yeah, it just became a bit of like a purposeless space, and then we're hiding in a tiny little office in the corner, and it all just seemed a bit backwards, really.
Yeah.
So now I feel like the podcast world has started to give it a new lease of life,
which is really nice because I mean it's been a photography studio for over a decade and was used by your dad when he had his photography business. I mean he was building room sets for Worcester Bosch and here and things like that.
We had 3 in one for one shoot, 3 whole room sets,
which is mad,
in each corner.
But like it's had a really lovely life as photography, but I'm really excited now about it's kind of like the next generation. It's moving with the trends, it's moving with what people want, and we're seeing that just with people booking in, asking about other different room sets and people asking us. I think that's how we've done everything in this business is someone asks us, can you do this, and we go, how hard can it be?
I like
we'll make it work.
Well, it's the same with the alternative backdrop. That wasn't necessarily an ask, but because I've known them for so long, I just knew exactly what would suit them, and it wasn't what is here now. And I was like, I need to figure out. So I pitched the idea before I knew how I was going to do it. I pitched the idea, used a bit of AI to generate a different looking backdrop exactly as I had in my mind. And I sent the 2 options, and I was like, this is what we've got currently. This is what I'm thinking might work better. And they were like, yeah, go with the other one. Go with the other one. I was like, right, I need to figure out how to make this work now, but without damaging what we've got at the moment.
I think that is something nice, like about you saying that. I mean, that one's quite specific because we've worked with that particular client for over a decade. But you saying like, we know what they want. Like clients to us isn't just like they're a client. Like, it's like no, we've worked with these people, but every time we work with someone, we're really digging into being like, what do you want? But I didn't expect us to have that much of a relationship with podcast people coming in, because previously, like with studio hire, people just come in, they use the space, they leave. Like they don't really chat to us or like use it or whatever. But podcast, I feel like we've got to know people a little bit more. And so we are starting to kind of figure out like, oh, actually, no, they will want it. Like, even to the extent of being like, I know if you drink tea or coffee, so I'll either put the kettle on or I'll turn the coffee machine off. And it's little things that like, it's never just people coming in to use a space for us. Like, we get involved.
Yeah.
As much as we want it to be a hands-off space, That doesn't work with us.
Yeah, but I think that is how we like to be, and I think I wouldn't want to change that.
No,
I wouldn't want it to be just people, somebody opens the door and you just press the buzzer being like, please enter the podcast studio.
No, yeah.
It is ready for you.
Maybe one day. Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get there. But yeah, I like that it feels like it's kept the ethos of who we are as a production company bleeding through into, because we've called it Midlands Podcast Studio, so it's completely separate to Middlebrook Productions. Middlebrook Productions is kind of like the parent company almost. So we've tried to keep it kind of separate, but it's kept the same values underneath.
I think it would be very hard not to, because we haven't changed as people.
Well,
so
exactly.
I think it'd be very difficult. It's like, oh, hang on, we go into podcast mode, which is like we don't talk to anyone.
But I think it's kept it more. I don't know if this is just for me because I've been here since we built it, compared to the photography studio.
Yeah.
Whereas the photography studio to me kind of felt a bit more hands off.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think because we have to have that initial sort of setting it up for people, finding out what they're doing, what works best for them. Like,
I would say,
I don't know.
I would say, no, I think the podcast, the main photography studio was just, well, arguably probably more hands-on because...
In terms of prep time, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You have to paint it every time.
Yeah. And also some of the equipment out there, which nobody has used for ages, because it's old, it's great, but it's old, and I don't like it because it's, I don't know, I've heard horror
it's legend
stories.
stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's proper like old legacy photography.
That's the word, not legend.
Yeah, that's fine.
Legacy.
As I thought of it, I was like, yeah, that's what you meant to say.
Yeah. It became an L E and G.
It's all right. We're not made for words. But yeah, so all of that equipment, if people wanted to use that, I basically ended up being like tech support for the entire day.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that stuff it's so hard to use. And I think people would just thought, oh, I can just go in and use that.
No.
And they come in and they're like, I don't know how to switch it on. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
I don't know how to switch it on. I look at it and I'm like, whoa.
It's a very strange sequence of events that has to happen. It's like
it reminds me of like
lunar module.
To me, it looks like every adaptation of Frankenstein. Igor's just playing with the knobs and the dials to try and get it to work. That's how I view those lights that we've got out there. But it's still a great space that, like, there's not many White Cove studios
not of this scale. Not of this scale. There's a lot of like garage size sort of setups, but no.
But ones you can fit a car in. There's not that many.
yeah. But I don't think we ever marketed it.
No.
We never marketed it well. We never marketed it properly. It never had the time and investment. It's such a big space. I think this is what I've come to realize in the business is smaller spaces are way more manageable in every sense of like they're less expensive to manage, they're easier to heat, they're easier to keep clean. Like smaller is always so much easier to work with. So that space has always been so big that I've never...
It's a behemoth. It's just...
I wanted to make it suitable for video and audio recording in there, but the amount of audio, like sort of soundproofing you'd need, I was like, okay, £20,000. I don't think I can spend 20 grand on just making it sound nice.
And there's so many spaces that for that sort of thing, just go there.
Exactly.
Like there's full like TV production studios. Just go use one of those.
For the sake of if we were doing a few shoots every month or something, it's like it takes so long to get the return back on that. Yeah,
and I think like using the space, like for people actually using it, the people that are going to be using the photography space is photographers.
Yeah.
The people that can use the podcast space is anybody.
Yeah, very true.
It's opened up so much of a wider market for us.
What I love as well is how this has enabled anyone to record as well. So obviously if you got a phone, you could just go outside and be like, just talk to your phone, and some people do.
Yeah.
But if that's not how you want it to look, then it's like you just come in, you talk about whatever you want to talk about, because you could do it as a single person. I'd find that very difficult, but but yeah, or you can invite people in, and then from that you're then able to just generate content about your business, about you, whatever you're trying to achieve. And it's so sort of like, I guess, like accessible, minimal effort and low cost to get started on things. I mean, I've suggested to people doing like FAQ video style pieces 100%. In a podcast setup. Getting FAQ videos for the website, it means that they can really simply and easily cover those questions, and it's not going to cost them that much.
I think that's something that I really liked us having as an offering, because there was almost an awkward stage where we're still networking, we're still out networking with SMEs, we are an SME, but the price that we charge and the quality that we're making for our main video content, I say to people, like, a good start budget is $3,500. For an SME, that's not always, like, on the smaller side of SMEs, it's not very accessible. And it kind of felt, I almost started feeling bad.
I agree.
And it's like you sit in an awkward space because you're like, we don't want to undercharge for what we're doing, because the quality of what we're making is, you know, big agency, you know, level. And we already don't charge enough for what we're doing. And also there are, you know, quite a few overheads that come with what we make, and it takes time. But I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a room of people who, like, I'm just our services are unreachable. It just feels like you're almost talking down to a room full of people, and it started to feel really uncomfortable for a while. Whereas now that we've got this, and we were trying to do before this, we were trying to see what we could do. We were like, can we make like SME packages, and like, but even that we were then shooting ourselves in the foot, because we never spend like the minimum amount of time that we needed to. We'd always go over on time, and like it just wasn't quite working. But this was a way to be like, look, it is £50 plus VAT for an hour, and we'll give you all of the kit you need to record video content, and an hour's worth of content. And even saying like, look, we're now offering half a day one-on-one training on how to edit it as well. Like, the power's entirely in your hands.
We want people to be able to like generate content. So we've always said, like, the thing which I'd always say to people before we had this was, go and make, if they couldn't afford us, I was like, just, you don't need us, go and make it yourself. But I get that's really
people
hard.
Don't want to do it as well, and they don't feel comfortable doing it. Well, they don't know how to. Like, just for, you know, I know we say that obviously, you know, you've got TikTok and things like that, so it must be easy for people to make their own content. It's still a ball ache. Like, having to know, like, we've grown up in the generation of being tech savvy, and so we can we know from a start point, like, oh, I could just put it into like CapCut or whatever, and it will like be easier. It's still not easy. Like, and it's still very easy to do it badly.
Definitely.
Whereas like this is done in such an easy format that podcasts require minimal editing, and it's given us something that we can offer to people around us, and it's brought us back onto that playing field of going like, we're accessible again.
It's more options really, and I'm always a bit nervous about adding a service, like creating a new service.
Me too.
Because you feel like you don't want to go in being like not understanding it properly. So it was really like, do we understand this now? And once we got to a point of, we do get it, we know how it can be used, then it became a service.
And that took a few months of experimentation and trying things and doing our own podcasts. Because we were like, look, if we're gonna put this out as an offering, we need to put our money where our mouth is. Do it ourselves.
It's like research as well. Like, what were the best camera options for this? Or what were the best microphones for sort of general people? Because there's like infinite possibilities. I wanted absolute sort of minimal sort of controls going on. I didn't want any rubbish. Yeah, I know. There's the mute button on here, which makes me nervous because that's caught a couple of people.
Just don't touch it.
Yeah, I've got a nice little sticker on it now. It's like, do not touch.
Yeah, if I'm flashing, we got an issue.
Do not touch. It's already set up. Don't touch it.
But I think like the more I'm finding so many more benefits to this space. Like it's improving my interviewing technique. It's like it's making me have better conversations and one-to-ones with people.
Yeah.
But also it's letting us work with the SME industry.
Yeah.
Which is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Whilst being able to do the big production stuff, which pays the bills and lets us have the creativity output.
Yeah.
That, you know, we're craving and we love. And then this is almost like your little side hustle that keeps itself running. Because
it's like at the end of the day, we've always anything we make, the whole purpose is going to help their business grow.
Yeah.
So it's always been really annoying that you sort of people are like the smaller businesses. They sort of come in and you're like, I can't help you grow. And all I can do is be like, sort of, you're gonna have to go and find something else.
Yeah.
Or I hated that. Whereas now, we've got this. We can help you now. This will help you grow.
Yeah.
You just need to do this with it.
Yeah. It's definitely, as much as I was angry at Matt to start with, he's done us a solid.
Yeah.
He's made a good idea. So the Midlands Podcast Studio is here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only going to grow, and I think it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.